As Aaron said, we are in our season of seminars and discussions on faith and finance. And we've had two fantastic weeks. The first week was by Ira, and he took us through biblical stewardship. And he looked at how do we take care of what God has given us. And as Christians, we have to have a sensitivity to how we take care of what God has given us. And he looked at biblical stewardship from the position of not just money, but gifts, talents, and our possessions. Then last week, we had a fantastic message from Tunde. If you haven't heard it, please go back. And it was looking at the heart of generosity and how we approach giving, and looking at what God's blueprint is for giving, and what does that mean for us today? And really, it looked at examining one's heart and what one associates with giving. So today, really, I want us to take it to the next step, really, I want to utilize. And today's, I'm going to be honest, is quite a blessing for me to be able to take what I do on a daily basis and bring it to the house of God and serve. So today I'm hoping that the message will be challenging, first and foremost, but equally accessible. So before I begin, I'd like everyone to get their PPEs. Like, COVID's over, yes, I agree. But paper, pens, and I want your ears. Because what we're going to be going through today, I hope, will be practical enough that there will be bits that you can take. So today is a buffet. You take what you need and you leave what you don't, okay? So before I begin, let me just cover compliance today. Nothing here is financial advice. Without knowing your personal set of circumstances, I cannot diagnose your position. Today is for information purposes only, and I would encourage you to take what you hear from today and do a bit of research. And if you need to speak to someone, find someone that you can speak to, a professional, who can help you achieve your objectives. Okay, there you go, Tony. Tony's the compliance guy at my work. Okay, so why do we need to tell our money where to go? When I was researching and preparing for this, Aaron's been kind enough to give us some material, and the brother that was presenting on the topic said this: because if you don't tell your money where to go, you will often find yourself asking the question where your money went. You will often find yourself having more month than money. And this is because whenever you're dealing with your finances, you always start with the end in mind. So whenever I meet with a client, what we always start out with, once we've established how much they have, we want to know what's the objective for what you have. We do not do any planning, we do not do any instructing until we understand what is the purpose of this money. Okay? Now, today, what I want to clearly differentiate is the difference between the world's idea of money and the biblical concept of money. Because as Christians, we do not subscribe to the laws and the ways and the practices of the world. The Bible says that we're in the world, but we're not of it. Yeah? So when doing that, I'm deliberately framing the narrative of what I'm going to talk about from a biblical lens, okay? So the first scripture that I want to note is Colossians 3:23-24, and it says, whatever work you do, do it with all your heart. Do it for the Lord and not for men. Remember that you will get your reward from the Lord, and he will give you what you should receive. You are working for the Lord. So when we think of ourselves as an employee or a self-employed person, the first question that I want us to start thinking about is what type of employee or person or self-employed person am I? Because the diligence that I put into my work will influence the outcome of the work that I do. So if I just go to work to get a paycheck, I'm approaching my work with the wrong mentality. And that will result in the way in which I use the proceeds of my work. Because if I take my work for granted, the money I make from my work will equally be taken for granted. And if we don't believe that, look at this, I'm skipping forward already. It says, if you are faithful in the little things, you will be faithful in the large ones. But if you are dishonest in the little things, you won't be honest in greater responsibility. The responsibility of your money can be, and to me, as a financial advisor, is a greater responsibility than what you have on your job, because the proceeds that you earn from your work influences the lifestyle of not just you, but your families and your children. So there is a correlation between the seriousness in which I take my work and the seriousness in which I manage the proceeds of that work. So if I accept that the work that I'm doing has come from God, or I'm working for God, the management of what I make from that is also equally unto God. And the biblical principle here, and this is what we've constantly spoken about, is where your treasure is, there your heart is also. So the way in which I distribute my money is an indication of my heart and what I consider to be my treasure. So now we're going to evolve the conversation and start looking at, well, how am I supposed to be managing my money? And in Proverbs 24:3, it says, through wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established, and by knowledge the rooms are filled with all precious and pleasant riches. Your house should be built on wise decision making. Your financial home should be built based on wise financial decision making. So Proverbs 21:20 says, the wise have wealth and luxury, but fools spend whatever they get. So we're now seeing that there is a clear outline as to how I'm supposed to be thinking about my money. Immediately, it should jump right out at you. I shouldn't be spending everything that I get. Now, there's this saying, let me see if I can pull it up. A fool and his money are soon parted. The one that I prefer is a fool and his money are easily parted. And in my position as an advisor, I've come up with an equation. It's called the formula of fools. And I want everyone to pay attention to this. The formula of fools is I plus want equals spend. I plus want equals spend. That is the formula of fools. Because just because I want something does not mean, number one, I should have it. Number two, I should have it at the time that I want it. And number three, that it is affordable for me to get it at that point. A marketer's dream is someone who operates on this formula. So I got caught the other day. See, look, when I come up here, I'm always transparent. I have to be. There was that Amazon, come on, yeah, look. Everyone, I got caught on Prime Day. I'm going to be honest. I got caught on Prime Day preparing to speak to you today. Okay, Lord, I'm confessing my sins. You said it's good for the soul. I got caught on Prime Day. And in getting caught on Prime Day, I made a purchase that was needed, but was not a part of where I was planning on telling my money where to go. When I spoke to my money, when my money came in on the 25th of this month, that was not one of the destinations I had agreed. for that to go. And I'm very particular. Zaki will tell you, I'm really funny about ad hoc, unplanned spending. But this happened. And to be fair, the item has utility in the home. So I'll give myself that. But as a result of this, the conviction that I had preparing this word really challenged me now to put a plan in place to cover the unplanned expenditure. My challenge to you today is for you to think about how you spend your money. Are you an I plus want equals spend type person? Now, all of the names have been changed and all of the particulars have been changed. So this could be considered fictional, but it's based on real life events and conversations. I want to introduce you to two clients of mine that I met when they were first aged 25. One's called Lavish Larry and the other's called Prudent Pete. Obviously, I've changed their name just to give an indication and to make it accessible. They both graduated as engineers and their profiles are quite similar. So they have large friendship groups. So small differences, but differences that make a difference. So one has a large friendship group and the other has a large group of friends. One enjoys having new experiences, which can take priority for him. The other likes to have new experiences within reason, but they both want to climb the career ladder. So what we will see is the results of a few meetings that I've had with them, or we're going to see how they've come to me for a few meetings over a period of a few years. So first, we'll look at Lavish Larry. Currently, he's got a graduate job and he's earning £2,000 a month. That's his take-home pay, yeah? So just so that we can keep it simple. So when we look at his expenses, his rent or mortgage is £900 a month, utilities £200 a month, he spends £250 a month on food. His transport, so this includes insurance as well as bus and tube fares, is £150. £200 a month goes on entertainment. £250 is impulse or unplanned spending. He spends around £100 on credit, whether that be loans or credit cards. He gives nothing to the church at all. And he doesn't do any savings. His total expenses are £50 over his income. The remaining balance is, from his expenditure is minus £50 per month. And this is what I would classify as foolish spending. Okay, sorry, the pad, there we go. Okay, so we come on to Prudent Pete. His income is £2,000 a month. He spends only around £800 on his rent. Utilities, he tries to shop around, and he spends £150. He spends £200 on food, £100 on transport with no car at the moment. He has personal insurance because he has a child. This is important. If you have children, okay, let me put it the other way before we get to that point. By show of hands, how many people in here have a car? By show of hands. How many people in here have car insurance? Okay. So, when you have children, it is our recommendation that you look at financial protection. Financial protection are things like life insurance, income protection, critical illness. Your lifestyle is currently underpinned by your income. So the first thing that you should know is, what is my employer's sick pay benefits? What is my employer's death in service benefits? A death in service benefit is a benefit that you receive, God forbid, were you to die whilst in service within that company. Some companies, or most companies, offer it, some don't. But if you're a parent, you need to be thinking about the provisions that you're leaving either for your spouse, God forbid, if something were to happen, and then your children. Personal insurance, if you're willing to insure a car, you should have no excuse not to insure your person. As a parent, that's first and foremost. If you have other liabilities, like mortgages, credit, credit cards, loans, and you're married, or let's say married or in a spousal relationship, you should equally be concerned with how much financial protection you have in place. Because God forbid, if you die, that debt gets passed on. It doesn't get written off if you're in that situation, yeah? So that would be one of the wise points I would want to make. He spends £100 on entertainment. He tries to be better than me with no impulse spending. At present, he has no credit or loans. He gives a portion of his money in tithes, and he looks at savings. Yeah, he does £200 a month. So at the end of the month, his total spend is £1,700. He has a remaining balance unspent at the end of the month of around £300, and I would classify this as wise spending. He's not looking to use all of what he has. He understands that it needs to be told where to go for the priorities of his lifestyle needs. So then I met up with these guys a little while longer, and they've started to go up the career ladder, and their pay goes up slightly. And what we see with Lavish Larry is immediately his expenses jump with where he lives. He wants to get a better place. In being in a better place, it costs more to maintain. His lifestyle then goes up. So the kids are getting older, they're eating more, he's eating more, he's going out and doing more. He's got a better car, upgraded, his transport expenses have gone up. But now we start to see a jump in entertainment. His friendship group starts to be a bit more outgoing. He starts to enjoy life a bit more. And as that happens, it correlates with unplanned impulse expenditure. The more you go out with friends, the more you socialize, the more you do those things. No one's telling you not to do those things, but we must be aware they come linked to unplanned expenditure. His credit then goes up because obviously he's spending more, he's doing more, he's got a car, his lifestyle upkeep is more. He's still not giving, he's still not saving. And what we see now is even though he's earning more money, his expenditure has gone up even more over and above his income. His balance is now negative 150. And again, we would classify this as foolish. We look at Prudent Pete, and again, his money's gone up. His standard of living, where he lives, has gone up, but proportionate. His utilities are around 200. His food is slightly less. Let's get that down. His transport has gone up. His entertainment, again, has gone up, as well as his insurance. He's now looking to evolve. He may have had income protection or a life cover, but now he may have added critical illness. Critical illness cover is a protection that protects you from a list of various illnesses, heart attack, it could be brain tumor, it could be stroke, a variety of illnesses. His unplanned spending, he's maintained his discipline, but his credit, he's starting to use credit a bit more. Credit is not bad, but misused credit will kill your finances. Credit is something that should be used for leverage, not something that should be used for lifestyle. If your lifestyle is on credit, there's a problem. Yeah? Credit should be used for leverage. It's a system that can be manipulated in a way to benefit your options in life. Yeah? The worse you manage your credit, the more of a risk you're considered to the system, which means that the future credit you get becomes more expensive. And that's why your purchases on credit are never the price for which you paid or completed the transaction at the till or online. It is the balance of the total expense of that particular cost of credit. So if you take out a loan to buy a car, the cost of the car is not the amount that you initiated the loan with, it's the final balance of that loan. And that's what you need to be thinking about, is what is the final balance of this credit, and is that worth the purchase? The challenge with purchasing a car on credit is that the final cost of the car the car is a depreciating asset. If you buy a car off the car lot, it immediately goes from first to second-hand car. The price of that car slashes in half immediately. It's a second-hand car from the moment you take it out. So to take credit that's going to keep growing with interest for an asset that immediately goes down in value, you can see that's not a good financial compromise. Okay. His offering matches a percentage of his income, and his savings is now racking up. His total expense is $2,800. The remaining balance, we can see, has now gone down. So he was earning less, but he had more. But now that he's socializing more, he's still got slightly less. But he's saving more. So his money's not disappearing. Okay, and we would classify this as wise spending. And this is the last set of examples. What we see with Lavish Larry is his income now is at $5,000. He's now really racking it up in his career. Again, his lifestyle, his house, the cost has gone up. Utilities obviously will go up. Food goes up. Transport now, he's got a better car. Insurance is more. All of the associated, the engine size is bigger. Cost of petrol goes up and the such. His entertainment and unplanned expenses go through the roof, or what I would say to a client, this is substantial. His credit, again, has jumped. And now he decides, do you know what, I am going to give a bit. And he gives a little, yeah, because he comes and he feels, maybe I'll put a £10 in this week, or I may put a £20 in, and he feels good. And but now what we see is his total expenses is £350 over his income. And again, this is non-wise. Let me just move through this because I've taken up a lot of time and I've got some places to go. So Pete, again, just like Larry, he's improved his lifestyle. He's kept his utilities at a similar level as possible. He shops around. He looks for deals. His food, the kids are getting older. The cost is going up. His transport has gone up. He's got a better car. And he's traveling a bit more. His entertainment's gone up. His personal insurance has remained the same, kept the same policies. He's stuck to the discipline of no unplanned spending, and he's utilizing the credit system in a way that's affordable. His tithing has gone up substantially, in addition to his savings. His total expenditure is $4,400 a month. His remaining balance is £600 a month, and we would consider this wise spending. Now, why have I showed you this? I've showed you this because it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. So if we look at Lavish Larry, at £5,000, his remaining balance was £350. But if we look at Prudent Pete, who was earning less than half, he's earning 40% at this point of what Larry was earning, and his remaining balance a month was £300. Now, if we look at the lifestyle of Lavish Larry, his debt was growing by £350 a month, which would equal $4,200 a year, even though he's earning more than 60% more than Prudent Pete. Prudent Pete, in his position, his savings of £200 a month would lead to assets of around $2,400 at the end of the month. This is a real-life scenario. Although the persons and the expenses are different, the outcomes that we're seeing here are real. The difference here is that Lavish Larry is accruing no assets. There is no asset accumulation here. Whereas with Prudent Pete, there is minimal, if not no, debt accumulation because he has the capacity to clear his credit as and when. This is important. This is vitally important when we look at how we manage our money. Prudent Pete, in all of what he's been able to do, has been able to save and give. And sometimes when we look at our relationship with God and we pray and we talk about, Lord, help me, Lord, help me, sometimes we can be one of these two individuals. And the interesting thing in a conversation with Lavish Larry, because I had to scold him a little and say, listen, this just cannot continue. I've given you a few years, but if you continue this, you're going to eat up everything that you've built, that your parents have built for you. So these are children of clients. So clients have accounts, and as part of managing their accounts, We look after their children because the business model is, God forbid, but when clients decease, those assets go to the children and essentially we continue their management. And when I highlighted this to Larry, his point to me was, well, it doesn't matter. My parents or my gran will cover it. It's fine. And once I smirked and laughed, I said, okay, that's fine. But that's really unwise, Larry. And we had a broader conversation and he ended up understanding what I'm saying. But the reality is the behavior was embedded and he's continued to earn more and continue to spend more. But when I think of this as us as Christians, we can be exactly like that. That we can have all of this and make these mistakes and be like, God, please, I just need more money. If you gave me more money, I would be okay. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Again, when you come to the altar, you must be honest. When I hear these calls for prayer, I sit back and that's not my prayer that God will give you more money. I'll sit there and say, Lord, before you do that, please give them wisdom in what they have and how to use it. My prayer is that God will plug the hole in your bucket before he pours more water in it. Because until we do that, the abuse of blessings will continue. So, I've got a couple of minutes. Okay, I'm close. Don't worry. I'm in closing. My prayer for everyone is that we become wise stewards of what God has given us. That's my prayer. Before riches, before additional blessings, before promotion, that we will become diligent stewards of what God has given us. So, I've got 5 things that will help you spend wisely. The first, stay in your lane. I don't mean to disrespect anybody when I say this. This is my profession, okay? I'm giving you free, wise advice. Stay in your lane. Stay in your financial lane. Do not try to keep up with the Joneses. The Joneses can manage what they're doing because the Joneses are diligent in dealing with their own business. Turn to your person next to you and say, mind your business. Mind your business. Yes? It doesn't matter where you are. You are where you're supposed to be. Yeah? Right? And it's important. This is important. This is the heart of what I've come to speak to you about. Stop comparing yourself to others. This is important. Stop comparing yourself to others. We are in this world, but we are not of this world. The standards for which this world judges people, life, and its meaning and value, we do not subscribe to that. So it's important that we learn to live in our lanes, because a lack of contentment, this is really important, and Paul speaks about this, yeah? And I'm going to come on to what Paul says in a moment. But when we look to try to emulate the lifestyles of other people, yeah, we're really revealing an unhappiness with what we have. And that can be linked to ingratitude for the provisions that have already been made. Because we abuse what we have, then complain about the results of our own folly and abuse. And the heart is, it can be linked to covetousness, the desire for what others have. And when I was preparing for this, we were speaking with the leaders and just looking at the content, and Aaron hit a tone with me, and it really resonated with me. So I went in to look at the word covet. And the Hebrew meaning of the word is chamad. Yeah? Chamad. C-H-A-M-A-D. And it's to desire or to take pleasure in something. Like the belief that if I had that, like I would be this. Like if I had this thing, my life would mean that. If I only had that car, if I only had that house, if I only had that extra bit of money, if I could only look like them, then I would be seen like them, loved like them, respected like them. I would have that. And this word, when you go through the Bible, the story that embodies this for me the most is in Genesis 3:6. And I'll read it because I don't want to complicate things for the tech team. But it says, so Satan has spoken to Eve and said, listen, look, what about that tree in the garden? Why don't you go for that? And she's like, no, we're not allowed to touch that tree because. So then Satan's response is, then the serpent said to the woman, you will not surely die, for God knows that in the day you eat it, your eyes will be opened and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. So when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes and a tree desirable, chamad, to make one wise, she took of its fruit, ate, and she also gave to her husband who was with her. Eve desired the wisdom of God. And in that desire corrupted her. And not just her, Adam as well. Because before Satan told her, oh no, it's going to be fine, you're going to be like God. God doesn't want you to do that. Like before that conversation, that tree was off limits. And we experience this all the time. When you're going through your ASOS app, you weren't thinking of buying those jeans or those clothes. Before I went on Amazon, what I bought wasn't even of interest. Oh no, it's fine, just get it quickly, it's fine. Oh no, look, just look, what's wrong? Look, imagine those guys have got it. Like, you see that car? Oh, look at the car that they're driving. Look at the respect that they're getting. Oh no, don't worry, it's fine. It's fine. Oh look, they're asking for money again in the church. Don't give. What do you mean? If you give, how are you going to have enough to afford that thing that you said that you wanted? Oh no, look, just put that aside and go for it. Hamad. This desire of things that we associate that by having it, we have the intrinsic value of that thing based on our perception. It corrupts and destroys from within. And when you apply that attitude to finances, it's going to destroy your financial life, destroys discipline, completely removes discipline. The Bible says a man without discipline is like a city with no walls. That the walls of the city were there to protect the city. Discipline isn't I can't have it. Discipline is I can't have it right now. That's discipline. Discipline is not denial of desire. Yeah? Discipline is control of desire. It's delayed gratification, not the rejection of it. Hamad tries to override discipline. And this is why we have to be very careful. Because even when Paul speaks about it in Colossians 3, he links it to idolatry. It is the worship of these things. Everything comes second. The consequences do not matter until I get this thing. I'm going to get this at all costs. Even the cost of how I interact and engage with my responsibilities to God. My responsibilities to God is how I administer what he gives me. I'm willing to compromise that rather than stick to my agreement. And it becomes important as to how we frame these things in our mind because, again, this is about the lifestyle that we live as Christians. And in Philippians 4:11, Paul writes, not that I was ever in need, for I have learnt how to be content with whatever I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learnt the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. This is the key for us as Christians. For I can do everything, all things, through Christ who gives me strength. We need to understand that no matter what lane we're driving in right now, this is not the final place. It is about our diligence to our work. That what we put in diligently We then diligently manage what comes out, and all of your dreams and aspirations can be achieved through discipline and commitment to your relationship with God. My time has gone. Thanks, Zach. So let me just finish the last 4 things to help spend wisely. Secondly, start tracking your spending. Find out where your money is going. If you don't use a monthly spreadsheet, start today. And if you need help with this, go to Money Savings Expert. He's got a free spreadsheet. A few years ago, before Zaki and I got married, Isari, God bless this woman's heart, she introduced me to spreadsheets. She's a spreadsheet queen, and I'm not recommending that you go to her. I'm not recommending that. I don't want that burden on my sister, but she definitely helped me to understand the importance of it. It may seem dry, but money doesn't care about your feelings. Do you hear me? It doesn't care. Yeah? If you spent too much, you've spent too much and you owe. So we go back, it's about being faithful in the little things. This is how we are faithful in the little things, that we monitor and manage. Number 3, spend less than you earn. I don't know if that one reached the back. Spend less than you earn. Budget and set maximum monthly spending plans. Because this is important. Because if your expenses exceeds your income, then your upkeep will be your downfall. If your expenses exceeds your income, your lifestyle upkeep will be your downfall. Number 4, stop impulse spending. Stop it. If you've got an addiction to Amazon or ASOS or wherever, stop it. If you go out with your friends and you know that their lifestyles are a particular way that you end up going overboard, guys, cut it down. Guys, I can't roll with you this week. I love you, but right now I'm in a season of discipline, and right now I just can't. I love you. And if they love you, they will respect that. Lastly, seek godly and wise, and if required, professional counsel. The way, in Proverbs 12:15, it says, the way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he who heeds counsel is wise. Okay. And I'm going to end there.
Thank you for listening to the message today. We hope it blessed you. And if it did, please like, comment and subscribe for more videos from Micah. And don't forget to click the notification bell to see when they're uploaded. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you in the next one.